Everyone, today I am back over on OPB Blocks and I'm going to be explaining the reason why I am no longer a part of the media team. This video isn't really something that I wanted to post and I was quite hesitant to post about, but I do feel like I owe an explanation to the community after receiving an overwhelming amount of messages both in-game and on Discord. I do want to be clear that I did ask to be removed from media, and that is simply until the feedback that I have shared with the staff team is looked at and potentially improved upon. Although it hasn't really been acknowledged as of yet, as far as I can tell, I am hopeful that in the near future things will start to improve on the server. And with that being said, everything that I'm explaining today is basically my experience and my feedback and my opinion, and I don't want to be changing anyone else's opinion. Everyone is entitled to whatever they believe in. I don't want this video to spark any sort of drama, and on that note, I don't want anyone, creating any hate in game, making any tickets and things like that. And because I love the community so much, my Discord DMs are always open, and I will happily continue to post OPB tutorials from time to time if that is what the community wants and if that is what you guys ask for, whether you ask for it in game, on my Discord DMs, or even on the comment section on any of my videos. Before I explain the two main reasons as to why I have withdrew from media, I want to highlight the perks for being media on OPB. So the first thing that you guys need to know about is you get a rank in-game and on Discord which highlights media, and I think that is a pretty awesome feature because it definitely differentiates you from the rest of the player base. The second thing that you receive is having the second highest rank on Prisons, Skyblock and Survival. And the third thing that you get is being able to post the link to your content over on a dedicated media channel in Discord. Now, with that being said, if we take a step back and we have a look at my YouTube page and we look at the level of engagements that my OPB content gets, I will be completely honest and feel like media on OPB really doesn't provide me anything other than that rank that differentiates me. That being said is because I already own top rank, which is actually higher than what you get for being on media. The channel that you can post in Discord is really cool, but I'm unable to ping at Skyblock or at Prisons, and so I kind of feel like nobody really checks that channel out. The other thing to flag is I'm happily able to continue to plug my OPB content every 30 minutes in chat. That is not against the rules. So now if we come down to the reasons why I actually kind of wanted to withdraw on media on top of that. My first reason is down to acknowledgement and support from staff. I have to give a shout out to the community because I think you guys have been absolutely fantastic. You all talk to me in game. You all plug my content even when I'm not around or when I'm busy or when someone asks for something. Someone is always plugging my videos. And I can't even begin to explain words of how grateful I am for all the support that you guys give me. However, from a staff side of things, in particular, I'm talking about higher management and not necessarily helpers or mods, I don't really get any acknowledgement. In fact, I haven't even received a thank you for the content that I have posted. I have no feedback for the content that I posted, and literally I just get no communication. A really good example of this is Dungeons. When it got released at the start of Skyblock season, staff didn't explain to anyone how the parkour room worked. And in fact, so many people try to find loopholes to skip that room because of the lack of care from higher management. I spent the best half of the day working with the community for you guys to explain to me how to double jump so that I can record my POV and let everyone else who was struggling watch and learn. I genuinely feel like the clip from that should have been from staff. Or better, when the community was begging for a ladder or block or something to make that last jump a little bit easier, higher management should not have laughed at it and should not have ignored it. If we fast forward to Easter, the Easter event came once Easter was actually over and everyone went back to work and school. The rewards for completing such a late event, in my opinion, was just a complete letdown. We all know the server is called OP Blocks, but if it was OP, surely we should have got an Easter key at minimum. That is what we used to get when these type of events was hosted with the older management team. My second reason is the lack of inconsistency with punishments between players and staff. An incident has happened in the last 2 weeks that involves a top player and a top island known as Heyo It's X, where X saw a regular player open a crate and this player actually pulled the elemental sword skin. X proceeded to offer $3 billion in private DMs for this skin, but then immediately relisted it on auction house for $50 billion once the trade was complete. Now, there's no outcome to this. As a top player, yeah, I guess it's kind of you should have known the value before you made the trade. At the same time, you would have expected a genuine offer from such a top active player. X was not only allowed to scam in hindsight, but also he was able to belittle this person. He used terms like entitled to this player when the manager literally, quote unquote, was informed that the person that was getting told that they're entitled had to walk away from their PC because of how upsetting they was by the conversation with X. The manager was literally in this group chat and had full visibility of this type of behavior. And nothing has happened. No communication and no outcome has actually been given. As always, and as I'm sure as you guys are used to, slow responses on tickets and slow responses of outcomes. Nobody from the staff has actually spoken to this player that's impacted. And originally the manager told us that this player was to receive $15 billion paid back to them, but I guess that still hasn't happened and actually doesn't even need to happen anymore. Why I care though is because I sit here and I feel like, imagine if I brought that player to OPB through my content. If this is a new player who's not only been scammed and mistreated by a top player, but had a complete lack of communication and support from staff, I would genuinely feel morally wrong and at fault for introducing them in the first place. There has been so many similar instances of this type of behavior that I could sit and discuss for absolute hours. But I simply just want to get the point across that I'm not prepared to sit and support and promote a server right now when I can't physically agree with certain things on how they're being run. And I also can't sit and support when the team are behaving like this and when people in the community aren't receiving punishments as per the rules on OPB. So with all of that being said, I kind of hope you guys have a little bit of understanding of why I have chosen to do what I have done with withdrawing my media application. My DMs are always open on Discord if you do want to know any specific details or any specific feedback at all. The same goes to the comment section of this video. I'm happy to have an open discussion on any of the topics, but it's just really disappointing to see the lack of care at the moment from higher management. On that note, please subscribe if you haven't already, because I am going to still be posting content from time to time. I'm just not necessarily going to be plugging about it in game chat. Also, please drop a like on this video, is really greatly appreciated. And I will see you in another video very soon, but goodbye for now.